Hey everyone!
Hey.
Welcome to Too Legit to QT, where you can
Get it done with Tish.
and become the best version of yourself with me, Quoia. Today we are here with our friend, actress, comedian, puppeteer, producer, writer, multi-hyphenate extraordinaire, Kaili Y. Turner. Woo-hoo. Welcome, Kaili. I'm so excited for this just because you're naturally funny and we've already turned up. Even prior to even starting. So I just know that tonight is going to be so much fun. We might even have a cameo from your son. So, we love him. We love the kids. We're all family here. So
we'll probably hear him in the back
100. Kaili, we're so proud of you. We're so proud of you and all of your accomplishments. We're going to get into why. But hey, there he is. Hi. Hi. You want to introduce yourself?
What's your name? Can you say your name? Elias? Elias? He's like having graham cracker cookies in his mouth while
Well, we love the kids. Me and Tish, we have a company called Motivation for Kids.
Also, this is real mommy stuff out there. So, moms out there, you already know how it is. You got to get down and dirty with business with the kids.
Exactly.
So,
absolutely.
Put it out there for our moms out there.
Yes, this is like
shout outs to the moms for all the things that you do.
Yeah, it's real because it is real out here, and especially
the pandemic has been real, and you have been super, super busy. You're a comedian, you're an actress, you're a writer, you're a producer, a puppeteer. Let's talk about this because we all went to the same grad school, the Actors Studio Drama School at Pace University. However, you are a guest here on our show. So can you tell us how you got started in entertainment and your evolution into becoming a multi-hyphenate creative?
Ooh, how I got started. Well, like growing, I grew up down the Cape. Let's see exactly. He's getting hit. It's always about both of us. It can never totally be about you when you're a parent. But yeah, I grew up down the Cape, in Cape Cod and Mashpee. For those that might be familiar with it, it's like 20 minutes from Plymouth, where Christopher Columbus landed. And it was a very small town. And my friend, and who's my friend to this day, and was my mentor, Waleem, had a theater company called Oversoul Theater Collective, and he really took me under his wing, had me apprenticing there, and that kind of opened my eyes to the theater world. Because prior to that, I was going to be Whitney Houston, hunty. I was going to be Michael Jackson. Whitney Houston. I was a singer. I used to be able to sing. I can't sing no more. I smoke so much weed. But wait,
it just went away, Kaili. What happened?
I just covered the baby's ears for that one. I used to be able to sing, but not anymore. But then when I went to undergrad, I was like, man, what the heck am I gonna major in? And the only thing that really stuck out to me that I really enjoyed, that I could see myself, doing, was theater. And so majored in theater, and shortly after graduation did my first professional play, and then things the journey is like taken off from there. It's like everybody thinks it's like an overnight success when you make it, but it's like all these hours that you've put in doing all these, sometimes small projects, sometimes more well-known, but I've definitely put my time in.
Absolutely. So listen, let's just hold on. We just gonna fast forward to this because you recently were chosen out of 1,300 applicants. You were chosen by, let's get it right, SNL. And so you were let's see, you were handpicked out of 1,300 applicants as one of 4 recipients of SNL and Second City's scholarship for diverse, emerging, and comedic talent in partnership with Saturday Night Live. That is such a mouthful, but I had to get it right so people would know. And we have to cite our sources correctly. But like, first off, congratulations for all of that. I actually looked into the program and it's pretty amazing. Just the professional development that they do for performance and for writing. Like, can you tell us about your process in first off auditioning? Because I know that you had an aha moment, which you talked about on social media about being your authentic self. Yes, your mommy's out here making moves.
Right.
But then also just like your process, you started already. Can you tell us a little bit about your process and just auditioning and even everything that you've experienced so far?
Yeah, I would definitely say, like, when people say, you know, just write or just create, like, do that. Because when you're doing that, even if you're not writing for something specific, right? Even if you're not writing a Netflix show right now, you ain't getting that Netflix money right now, or, you know, you're not a huge YouTube influencer or whatever it is that your goal is, right? I would say just keep working at that right now, because those things that you're doing along the way help you get to like the bigger projects, right? So I had previously done a lot of comedy in the New York scene. I've been on a house team at the Pit. I was on Steve's Hard Milk. I was on one of the first all-female mob teams here in New York for UCB and Y. And so I had been doing, you know, a lot of theater stuff. A lot of comedy stuff. It's theater too, but a lot of like specifically comedic theater stuff. Sketch. Used to be part of American Candy. And so just really wanted to like hone that craft, right? And so took classes at UCB and like, luckily enough, started my own variety show called Rock the Bells Comedy with some amazing BIPOC and women comedians and up and coming musicians. And through that, Ali Farrakhan, who started the Pit and used to write for SNL, handpicked certain people to be in this like SNL audition kind of style class that he had. And so I did that along with some other, like, I think there was 4 of us, amazing comedians, all, you know, from different walks of life. And the tape from that, I took the tape from that and used that as part of my submission for this SNL something.
You better do it.
Yeah, because I think they wanted some original characters, maybe an impression, and luckily, because I feel like I've been preparing for my SNL moment for quite some time, for like probably at least like a good 4 or 5 years, maybe even more. Right? Yeah, you know. You're
right.
The audience, so you know. But yeah, I had sent them that along with some original characters that I had did, like spliced that stuff up together, sent them that, and then just told them a little bit, like, you know, I think they wanted a statement, a little bit about like my comedic voice, which in my opinion, I'm very edgy. I like to think that I'm smart and high thinking comedy. Doesn't mean that, you know, I'm not above a good fart joke or a good, you know, dick joke or something like that. But I like my stuff, like most of my stuff is edgy and then also has some sort of like layered somewhere. Sometimes, not all the time. Not all the time. It's just stupid. You know, like, right? Exactly. Yeah, and then made it to I guess like the semifinals. I guess you would think, right? Almost like it's March Madness. And then had an interview with the execs of Second City, and it was weird because I remember, so prior to my Zoom interview with them, I had surgery, I think like a few days or maybe a week prior. So I was like hurt up, could barely move, was on pain meds. My son serving me, my oldest son. And I was like, you know what? I have this interview today that really could help put me on a path. He's so animated. And I was like, I'm just gonna, like, you know, oftentimes we go into auditions or something and we're like, we do what we think that they want to see. right? And I was like, you know what? Today, I don't know if it was because I was so tired and just over it from the surgery, but I was like, today they gonna get Kaili. Like I don't have anything else to give but me. So today they're gonna get Kaili, and it was enough, you know. And it was one of those. I've heard other people say it. This has been the first time I've ever been in that position, but it was one of those where when I hung up, I was like, yo, I think I got that. Like really, like, and I've never really felt like that before, especially something like this, right? You know, but I was just like, I think I got that. Like, I think that I conveyed to them how important this comedy is to me, how passionate I am, how hard I'm willing to work. And like, come on now, SNL, you need me. Like, come on.
I was telling Tish that like when I researched the program and when I looked at all of your body of work, like the improv troupes you've been on, your web series, all of those things, and just all of the little bits that you do and the things that you've written, I said, you know, Tish, I think that this SNL moment is one of those moments where when people said, I've been training my whole life for this moment, Jennifer Lopez said that. She said when Selena came, all of her background in dance and musical theater and just everything that she had done, even living in the Bronx and, you know, being a Latina and being edgy and all these things. She said that moment, she knew why she did all of those things. And it like everything added up. And I was like, this seems like that moment for Kaili. And it's interesting hearing you talking about it because we do struggle with that like authenticity. It's like, yes, I'm going to be myself, but also I know that this is a business and people want to see a certain thing. And I know Tish being a producer, she's like being a producer, she's on the other side and she's like, no, like lead into that.
I do say that creativity rolls because at the end of the day, I'm telling you, people just come and go, but the people who just continue to do it is the ones who are just leaning into their authentic voice because they're always coming up with something new that's true to them that no one can replicate. So that's what I see. It's the truth, y'all. It's the truth.
Absolutely.
People out there.
So Kaili, you have a web series called Effed Up and Fabulous. A lot of people in this pandemic, they're really starting to understand that there's power in ownership and creativity. Tell us a little bit about your web series and like your process and some of maybe the challenges that you came up against while creating your web series.
Woo, the challenges go on for like, woo, that list is long, child.
A couple, we know you got another interview because she's right now, guys.
Yeah, but no, my series it was really based on like a lot of my own personal experiences, like in the dating world, right? And then also not even just in dating, but also just and I'm sure you guys can attest to this too. Like being in this business, you can have these amazing highs. Right? Like you know, you could be in a room with maybe someone that you watched on TV or someone that you looked up to, someone that you loved and that inspired you or something like that. And breaking bread with them, right? Or maybe you just went to this amazing show. Like you have these amazing highs in this business, but then you also have like these crazy messed up moments, right? Because it's also New York and it's craziness and New Yorkers are unbothered than a mug. Like, you know what I mean? So like, and how those moments switch so fast. Like they can switch on a dime. You can go from having a fabulous moment to something crazy happening or something getting effed up real fast or vice versa. Like something was effed up and then like, boom, you turn a corner or something and like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like and I think that's also like it really has to do, I think also with just the, what's a great word for it? I guess just the dreaminess or the of
like nostalgia.
Yeah, I guess, or the nostalgia of New York, right? And just this atmosphere and that, you know, it's the big city, it's the city of dreams, right? Right? Like, you're gonna see a flash mob come down the sidewalk right now, which you never know, it could happen. But yes, I wanted to just talk about those moments, right? Like how life turns on a dime, but then also talk about like dating as a woman over 35, also as, you know, and intergenerational, right? I wanted to talk about dating for a woman who's like 50 or older. And then, you know, like, and what it also feels like to have been in a long-term relationship and now you find yourself like back out here on the dating scene and you don't know how this works. Like, oh, you're sending too many texts. Now you look thirsty. Wait, what? I don't know how this works. I don't know how this works. Like,
she's married. She doesn't. Like, she's not out here in these streets.
I didn't know that you couldn't just be like, oh, really? It was really nice meeting you, even though you like met them. I don't know. I don't know how this works.
I'm glad I'm married. So
yeah, she's married, but she's highly opinionated. She has a lot of opinions about my dating life.
I do. I literally am setting this situation up for her because I've been watching the kids and I see how it is out here. So, you know, I'm trying to help her with the situation. I watch a lot of Instagram and TikTok.
But I feel like even like the kids, they'll have you messed up too. And then also movies, because I'll be sitting right and I'm like, who was that damn movie? All the Boys I Wonder. Oh my God. I'm sitting there. Oh yeah. Watch that damn movie. Right? Exactly. Like, I'm not, what am I doing? I am not 20 something. I am not 18 and I'm not
Kaili, can I tell you, last weekend I literally called Tish having a breakdown.
With crying, being like,
I said, I just remember when we were young and, you know, everything was so simple and we just had, everything was positive and optimistic. And I said, I've lost my positivity, my optimism. I said, where that vigor for life and knowing if Tish had to break it down for me, but you're right. Like that like it really will have you messed up compared to reality.
Like,
that's why you can't trust them rom-com movies, yo.
I mean, and they always get you right before life is about to hit rock bottom. they're like, let me give you that moment when it was like all suns and roses, like just a moment in time in your life where it's like fantastic. We're gonna give you that and make it seem like it's everything, and then you're back to reality. Because the truth is, we do have those moments, right, where it's just like fantastic and it's great, but they don't last forever. Then we're back to reality of having to deal with our every day-to-day mundane routines that we put together, you know. But the one thing that I will say about being extremely creative is it gives you the opportunity to kind of jump out of that mundaneness and do something new and creative and different, which is a luxury that most people don't get to have. So, you know, we're actually kind of fortunate that we don't have to look at the same people every single day, all day.
That's true.
You know, we can kind of like mix it up when we want to.
That's true. But even like hi.
So much to say.
I know. He's like, he's in this thing. But even like that euphoric high that you're talking about, you know, as an artist, it can be, as an artist or entrepreneur, I think that's that like emotional roller coaster that that just is entrepreneurship. Being an artist is freelancing, as entrepreneurship. And I think particularly, even you see this a lot happening in our industry, you know, the highs can be so high. And, you know, even in Soul, the movie Soul, when people were performing, they were elevated. And I believe that when we are creating and we're in our element, we are elevated, and it is a very spiritual experience. You guys remember stepping out on stage when you ascend and you are the character and the character is you, and then people actually appreciate your work, and that's a high. And then but the lows in New York could be so low. It can be so low. Like you on your last, you know, $50 or $30 in your bank account, and then you buy a Metro card and you have food in your fridge and you're like, oh, it's okay. and then the subway just takes your card and they're like, oh, sorry, you can fill out this form, and you don't get paid for another week, and you're trying to figure out how you're going to make it to your auditions or your appointments or live. And then there's that low, and then something magical will happen, because New York does have a magic, as you all know. Something magical will happen. You'll be down on your luck at a store, then you'll meet somebody who works for NBC, and they're like laughing, and they're like, call me or come to this party or whatever, and you're sitting here like, what's happening? Because you're having these experiences that most regular people, like Tish said, it's a luxury most people don't have in regular life. And so the highs are high, and I think it's really important. Like, you have your children, Kaili, and Tish has her husband, I have my family, to really have a base that you can be grounded in, because it can be all over the place. One of the things I did want to talk to you about, Kaili, that I didn't notice is, when we were at school, and I know a lot of like actors and sometimes actresses, even myself included, sometimes we don't always want to lean into the behind the scenes. And I know on your website, you said that you love being in front of the camera just as much as you love being behind the camera. Like, how have you been able to like really lean into producing, writing, and just being a multi-hyphenate? Because I really think that our viewers could really benefit from that. Can you tell us a little bit about that and just how you've leaned into that and how it served you?
I think I leaned in, or not even I think, I know that I leaned into it because I was forced to, because as a Black woman, as a Black Indigenous woman, and just as a woman of color, as I'm sure y'all know too, you know what I mean? Like, we're not afforded the same opportunities that, first and foremost, a cis white male will get, and then, a white woman. So we're, up until recently, we wasn't even the end thing, now we end, but we wasn't. Exactly. He done heard me cussing about it. Right? Okay, sir, thank you. This is my moment. We've talked about this. No, but I was definitely forced into it because I felt like I wasn't getting all the roles that I felt like I deserved, right? And at first, I wasn't even leaning into the comedy thing. I was like, I'm an amazing dramatic actress. I can cry on cue. I've been trained at the Actors Studio Drama School with James Lipton and Elizabeth Kemp, and you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And not that, I roll my eyes just because it's so pretentious, and funny at the same time. But you know what I mean? Like, but we even then they wasn't checking for us. Mm-hmm. So really had to create my own content coming out, because I was like, people aren't booking me the way that I know that I deserve to be booked. And then once I started creating my own content, like, as I'm sure a lot of people have noticed, now I'm starting to see, okay, I'm getting a little bit more notoriety. And now, people are starting to say, oh, Kaili does comedy, or Kaili did this thing over here. And, she's doing this, that, and the third. And I'm always thinking about what my next thing is going to be. So that's also something to keep in mind, but also time management. Because as you can see with this Tasmanian devil, my time is very important. So you have to make sure that you, number one, like, pick projects that are fun, right? Pick projects that are fun. Pick projects that you like. You don't always have to go for something just because there's like a name attached to it, or there's a huge studio or whatever attached to it. Because oftentimes you'll find yourself, drowned out in those oceans anyway. Why not start somewhere where maybe it's a little bit smaller, a little bit more intimate? You're right. Maybe a little bit more intimate, and then just creating content and also not right, because the other thing is, like, we don't all have someone to like pay our expenses. We don't all have a credit card you can put things on, and I feel like in my beginnings too, in my humble beginnings, right? I'm still in my humble beginnings, but in my humble beginnings, like, even effed up and fabulous, there are things, if I were to do it over now, I would do totally different. You know what I mean? But that's what I had at the time. That was my budget or whatever at the time. This kind of also leads into, you know, like you said, challenges. Money is always going to be a challenge.
Right.
Money and time are always going to be challenges. And I think time even more so than money, right? Because you can't get time back. So I think you always have to make sure you're managing your time and you're figuring out which projects maybe best serve you. And then also be having a small mind towards like, okay, what's next or what's in the future. Like I remember the first time I ever did a festival circuit, I was at Urban World and I was in this film called The Cycle. And Loretta Devine was there. She was also in a short film. And I'm so glad someone from the audience asked her this question because I wanted to know too. I was like, give me the tea. And they were like, how did they get you?
Black people.
How did they get you, Loretta? Because I want you. Like I don't even know what I want you for, but I want you. Like, you know what I mean? I will make something up just to have you. But what she said was so real. She was like, number one, I was free and available. She read the script, she liked the script, and she was free and available. And she said, you're only as popular as your last or your next project, right? Because you do something and then you put it out there, but then people forget, you know? So you always have to be doing that next thing to remind people like, hey, I'm still here. I'm still doing things. I'm still in the game. Hi, remember me? Like, you know what I mean? So I always think about that, and that's such a gem, right? Like, so to make sure that you're managing your time, that you're picking projects that serve you or serve whatever your creative voice is. Work with your friends. Definitely work with your friends. Like, it's so much more fun, right? You know what I mean? Like,
yes, which is this show. I mean, that's what, like, everything you're saying is everything that we've been saying on the podcast, which is, like, we actually did an article for Women's Funding Network on 5 reasons to start a business with your best friend, because a lot of times you're sitting like on your couch or on your phone, you're having a glass of wine and you're crying to your friends about what's going on, you're venting and whatnot. And I really think that especially women, especially Black women, it's like, no, okay, but how can I help you to get to where you need to go? Like, we have these problems, but how can we help each other and build community? You know, we see that with a lot of our friends, even this right now, it's like community, you know, we did the racial institutional racism thing, and everybody came out there and said their truth. And they were like, oh, you should really keep going. We're like, okay, yeah. And then all this stuff started popping off, like your Moria's web series was released. And then you got this SNL. And I was like, you know what? Our group better be doing it, because I'll actually enhance what you said as well. You know, what Loretta Devine said, you're only as good as your last project, but also you're only as good as your community. And I'm starting to really realize that it's like building and creating with like-minded people who share your similar core values. Because this is the thing, even when, and I notice this too, like now me and my hosting and everything, when I'm working with certain people, it's one thing. But when I'm working with people within my community, it's like, sis, what do you need? Oh, let me email. And then they introduce you. And because they're a person that shares similar core value, it's like they know you. I'm like, if you know of any, if you need a host or MC, sis, I got you. Who do you need to know? Oh, you just got to do this. Let me intro this person to you. And I'm sitting here like, wow. I think that for me, if I could go back, I really would. If I understood the power of community, people always push networking, and networking is great. I think that we need it. But I think it's a difference in building a community, specifically for us, building a community within entertainment of like-minded individuals that share your core values, because they're doing business the same way, they're rocking the same way, their integrity is the same way. They also are giving you, like, Tish just did a film, and I was talking to one guy on Instagram, and he was like, oh yeah, I love that director. He's the actor's director because he believes in creative freedom. But that's how Tish rolls. She's all about, like, she's an artist producer, you know, and it's just like, we're just so got worked up. That was so much.
But also, I mean, honestly, if you look through most films, you'll see that the same people use the same people all the time.
Yep.
I mean, you know, like even if you look at Spielberg, you look at Tarantino, you look at Spike Lee. I mean, it's the same people over and over again. I mean, we're not creating a whole new concept. It's just that we're trying to figure out how we can create the same dynamics with the people that we're working with. And the truth is, you just got to find your tribe. I mean, I talk about it all the time. You find your tribe, and as you kind of move, you kind of, what do we always say?
All ships rise with the tide.
Rise with the tide, you know? And all of a sudden, you know, and I see that also with like Issa Rae. I sent her a link the other day of Issa Rae and how she created all these things, and now she has what is it called now? Hooray. Yep. And Hooray, it incorporates all the things that she's been doing for the last 10 years. It was just like I almost cried at how beautiful it was to see that she did this, she did that, she did that. And now she's at a point where she can hire people to help her bring all of these things that she's been doing for 10 years together. And I was like, oh, it's such a beautiful thing to see because, man, that's just how it happens. The writer that she worked with when she was on Opera Black Girl, because I remember the second episode when it came out, you know, the writer did Girls Trip, you know, and I remember reading that and I was like, you know what? And all the people who are on Black and Sexy TV, like they're all like breaking out and, you know, they're all doing their things. And that's what you call rising with the tide. Like you have these little groups of people who are together and they create together and all of a sudden they're in the same network doing projects together. And that's really, I think, what this industry really is, because you give credibility to each other. Everybody, you gotta be able to say, Callie's a good person, you should work with her, you know?
Yeah. No, it's so true. She's the same one that was like, you know, like work across the aisle. Don't worry about trying to, you know, level up. And, you know, the next people, when you got people right next to you who are, you know, even more hungry, honestly, because they haven't ascended yet. Right. So we're out here and we're trying to eat. So of course we're going to be going hard, you know, 24/7, 365 as much as we can, you know, with breaks in between for mental health, of course. But doing everything that we can to really get to that next level. And man, there are people, like I have a couple of different groups of like people where I'm like, yo, when it comes to comedy, like I'm pulling from this group. You know what I mean? Like these are my ride or dies. They're always going to be like my, like To Karen with Love, Rock the Bells comedy. Those are people that like, yo, if it comes to comedy, like I know. And if anybody's like, oh, you need someone from comedy? Oh yeah, I got you. And then when, you know, if it's like something dramatic or something like that, I'm like, yeah, I got my, and then, you know, I'm always on my sisters. So, you know, I'm like, oh, you need sisters? Okay, hold on. I mean me. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm always, and then it's great too, because you never know, like you said, like someone might be like, I need this. And then you never know who has dropped your name or who has referred you. And so you always gotta be good to people. Always gotta be good.
And be prepared. I mean, that's another thing. Like, you know, like I've been looking at Ya and I'm just so proud of her. And, you know, we're all friends with Ya and I'm so proud of her because, you know, I met her first year in grad school and she had this idea that she's just turned into this kind of like, it's this beautiful thing that she's created right now. And one of the things that I've said to her many times is just be prepared, be ready, because you see us all moving, you know, just all you have to do is just have like the minimum so that we can say, hey, sis, like, you know, you can get her, you know, she's the it. So I think within your communities, also make them look good. Like, don't be having us recommend you out here.
Yes.
You look like a hot mess. You ain't showing up on time. You ain't coming prepared, and people ain't giving us glowing reviews after we recommend you. So if you find your tribe, you also gotta be okay, be ready, be opportunity ready.
And even for your people stuff, you know what I mean? Even if you're not getting paid yet and it's non-union or whatever, don't be showing up to set an hour and something late or something like that just because I'm not, you know, I'm not like Taraji or I'm not, you know what I mean? Or whomever.
And that's what it is. And that's what it is. Because that's what it is. People don't just because a name or a studio or something is not attached to it, like Tish will tell you, I'll treat anything like it's the Oscars. I'm like, no. What do we need to do? Nope. I finger combed everything. I'm prepared. And people are sitting there like, oh, I didn't know you. Yes, because also the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And I see that in people. I used to think I was a perfectionist, but I'm really not. I'm just I'm particular. And a lot of people have actually said who have worked with me, who it's worked, they said they actually like that because they say it's easier to give me what I want than for somebody who doesn't know what they want. Then they just take them all around the globe, you know?
Yeah, and you get rave reviews.
But this is the thing. People try to make it seem like so this is the thing. I don't know about you, Callie, but you know, sometimes when you're very particular about certain things, and in the past, certain people have made me feel like I'm like, oh, am I tripping? Am I doing too much? Oh, maybe it's too much. And then I start second guessing myself, and I'm like, wait, what? But then when I find my tribe and I work with people, that's actually the thing that they like about me. They like that I'm very meticulous, very anal. And then when you see other people who are operating at this really high level, like Yamoria, me and Yamoria worked together. She's like, this is, I was like, I said, well, what about this? She said, yeah. I said, okay. She's like, excellent. I said, well, I need all of this. And she gave me all my I did all my research and it worked. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm not working with people who are, I don't want to say on the same
level. Not on your level. Just let's.
Can you say that? Okay.
I mean, I was gonna say
on your level.
Yeah,
not on your level. They don't operate at a high capacity. That's all.
Yeah, and I think also that I feel like there's levels to this professionalism stuff too. You know what I mean? And like, and some of us, and it's fine because you have to not know in order to know, right? Like you don't know what you don't know until you know it, right? So like you have to, sometimes you gotta suck or, you know, make a couple mistakes, but then once you're shown the right path or the way to do something, or you see someone who has drive and you see how they're moving, then that's when the person who is like the doer and the person that is always gonna, you know, that's gonna put everything that they got into it, and the goal getter, right? Like a gold digger, like who's a goal getter, like see those things, and they're gonna take those things and put them into practice in their own life because they know that those are the skills that you need in order to make it.
Absolutely.
And that's true. And speaking of that, and I think this is a really good time to ask you, like, so you created your own series. Is there tools and resources, and this is for our viewers out here, that you've used that you feel like will help someone else? Because we just talked about, like, you know, making mistakes and finding your way, but I feel like also, you know, we also have a responsibility to help people so that they can create their own content and do better than what we've done. So do you have tools and resources out there, tangible things that you think will help our viewers out there to create their own maybe digital series?
Yeah, definitely. Like, first of all, almost everybody has a smartphone. If you have, and especially if you have an iPhone, then you're just as good as someone who maybe has like a Sony Red camera. And if you don't know what that is, that's fine. That's fine, because you can use your iPhone, like use what you have until you can get to that next level. Use what you have, use the resources, use your friends as actors. You know, if you got a friend who's a rapper or a singer or something like that, you need some music, you hit them up. You use every resource that you have. And there are a lot of free writing tools out there also, like Celtics. I would definitely research any like free writing tools, or those that have like Writer Duet, or the ones that have like student discounts until you can get that final draft. Because that's expensive. And then also like tap it. Yeah, like I personally am not like a huge book reader, like as far as, you know, Save the Cat or, you know, something like that. I personally am I'm more of a kinetic learner. My son's tent is trapped on his little sit-on car thing, and so it's like a traffic jam. He's really upset. I don't think
you want to get it. You want to help him.
AAA is waiting, like, you know, he's waiting for the tow, and you know how AAA is. There you go.
Not triple A. Not triple A.
Until like 2 hours later, 3 maybe. But yeah, just use whatever resource that you can. Like you know, find stuff online. Google is accessible to everybody. Use your phone. There's so many different like formatting things. And you know what? Don't be scared to DM somebody, cold email somebody, cold call. Because I'm telling you, white people be doing that shit and it works. So like
well, actually, so my brother is about to graduate. He's actually in the next room, and his friend who lives here, who is his friend is moving here, and he actually just got hired as a junior. I want to say it right, an associate journalist for the NBA. And literally when he was in high school, he reached out to this, they're both Black men, but when he was in high school, he reached out to this well-known sports broadcast journalist, and literally on LinkedIn, and the man responded. He said, I love helping young men, and literally just to see his journey and his trajectory of how he told him, he said, oh, these are the good programs to go to. He went to LMU. He just graduated from UCLA for grad school. And now he's working for the NBA. And you're right. He reached out to somebody, and this is the beauty of and I just feel like as adults, we have to remember our childlike optimism, because when you're like, he was in high school, he didn't care. He's like, whatever, what do I have to lose? But what do we have to lose? Even as adults, what do you have to lose if somebody not getting back to you on LinkedIn or Instagram?
You want to know what it is? It's also like when we what I found, because I'm not afraid to reach out to anybody. I'll reach out to everybody.
At all. She reached out to everybody.
But what I found too is that people put these rules and regulations on you. They put these things on you that hinder you. And when I first got into the industry, it was like, you have to do it this way, or you have to do it that way. And then I'm looking around at these mofos and I'm like, well, how did you do it? Well, I did it this way. And then how did you? I did it that way. And it's all different because they did what they felt they needed to do to get where they needed to be at. Now, that doesn't mean you go around harassing people. Let's be clear about that. We're not saying go around just reaching out to people. No. We're saying that set yourself up for the opportunity. And I myself have met people that I can't use them until now. I actually just started speaking with this woman I've known for 5 years. 5 years. Been trying to do something with her for 5 years. And I just check in with her like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And finally, she was like, yeah, I'm starting a whole department for biopic people. And I'm like, hold that. What? What? Like, what? And she's like, yeah, you would be great. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I've known you for 5 years. And finally, we get to do something together. Do you get what I'm saying?
Now the timing is right. Now the timing is right.
Now it's the time, but it's also like I just want our viewers out here to understand that it's about the network and building relationships. It's not about the right now opportunity. Like knowing it's the right time to use the relationships that you have, so that you can build your network and that you can continue, because longevity is the key. It is not about the right now. It's about tomorrow.
Well, it's like the community, right? Like it's community. It's like if you're trying to build your community, then it's not about the instant gratification of it has to happen right now. And it's like it's like having that long-term vision of your ultimate dream. Right. We talk about that a lot, Tish, and Callie, I know you have this too, but I think when you see the things that we've done, it's like you say, you graduate from graduate school and you're like, oh, I'm this and I'm that. And then you get to a place where you're like, no, what do I really want? And we all are evolving beings. We get older, our wants, our desires, our needs, they change. But I think now that I've really developed like a long-term mindset, I have like short-term goals, but a long-term mindset, it's like, well, this may not happen right now, but like you said, I'm going to reach out to this person. I'm going to connect with them. Nothing may happen right now in this moment, but you never know. And then there's this momentum that starts to build up as you continue to like have, what is it? Like stake in the game, foot in the game. I don't know what it's called, but also too, the industry that we're in, if you look at people who are successful, like Tish always says, they just kept going. Like they're just the same people that were there year in, year out. Even Umoria, like we talk about her all the time. It took her 4 years to get her like web series like out, and probably really 5 if you really think about, you know, when she was developing it or whatever. But it's like, you know, she didn't stop and say like, oh, I'm gonna do this or that. She kept going. And even with you, Kaili, like you are a guest on our show, so I did my research, and I was looking at all of the content that you put out, whether you were writing for somebody, whether you were in a sketch comedy thing, or whether you were acting in something or producing something, and you just kept going. You're just like, hey, I'm here. I got my second baby, and I'm here. You know, like I got 2 kids, 2 sons. I'm here. You know, and now you are in a position where we know when you pitch your show to SNL, because that's what they let you do at the end. I looked at it. We already know you about to be blowing up on Comedy Central, doing your thing. You know, and it's just like, this is our Quoia. Can we? Oh, I know it's gonna be your assistant. That we're gonna get.
Well, it's so funny though, because like, I mean, I've submitted a tape for SNL before. I'm not even gonna front, and I've submitted a packet to SNL before also. But now I'm like, okay, well now I definitely know that they'll look at it, because now I'm on this track, right? But I've been preparing to try to get on SNL for years, right? I remember before they even had, like before Sashir was on, who was the first Black woman ever on SNL. Like I remember my friend Kedar, who was friends with Finesse, who used to be on SNL, right? Because you know how this business is. It's always like 6 degrees of separation or something. And I remember him telling me years ago, like, yo, Kaili, SNL is looking for a Black woman. And I was like, what? And he was like, yo, you'd be perfect. Like, you need to audition this, that, and the third. But I don't think at that time, I was living in New York. And they had the auditions like at UCB and whatnot. And Shashir made it. And that's great. Like, I know I wasn't ready at that time, whatnot, but you know. But now though, SNL, like, just know, like, a tape is coming. Like this spring, summer, whenever y'all, you know, a tape is coming. And y'all know, y'all need a light-skinned Black girl that's also Indigenous to not only play Beyonce, you know what I'm saying? So y'all don't got to keep bringing Maya back. But also play Pocahontas. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all, you know, like... you know,
we put it out there. We said it first. It's about to happen.
Right.
And also, this is the thing too. Even if SNL doesn't happen, the leverage from the program that you're in, and that's the thing. I remember Dominique Fishbeck. I don't know if you remember. She went to Pace as well, and I remember when yes, you remember her, and now she's like almost like she's like an A-list celebrity now.
I posted a picture of me and her. Yo, me and her stood outside in the cold in New York in March in the cold when Lupita and Denai.
Yes.
Oh my God! What was the play? Now I'm blanking on the play.
In the continuum, Eclipse.
Yes, Eclipse. When Eclipse was here on Broadway, me and Dominique, we didn't go together, but you know how it is when you're in New York. You see all the other actors or whomever,
and they put it on Facebook.
Yeah, and so like I remember telling her like during intermission, because she was up, I was in the orchestra, and she was up. She was up in the mezzanine, and I remember seeing her during intermission, and she was like, "Yo, Kaili, any seats down there?" And I was like, "Yeah, Dom, you're like, you need to come down here because my whole row is open." Like, because Justin used to do the Black Theater night, you know what I'm saying? And so sure enough, she came down later, and I remember at the end, me and her, like, Denai was sitting a row behind us, and me and Dominique Fishbeck are like, yo, Denai's right there, son. Like, let's try to, so we waited, we tried to get an autograph, but then someone was talking to her so long, we was like, oh, this ain't gonna work. So then we went outside, and you know, you wait by the door to get the autographs.
Yeah.
We waited out, like I said, it was March. It was cold as hell. And Lupita, I hope you see this right now. because Dominique Fishbeck and myself waited for you. And Dominique is a queen now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she was always a queen in training, but now y'all see she's a queen. But we waited in the cold for you, Lupita, and you was the last one to come out. The last one. Everything came out in a big ass sun hat and some shades. And it was like 10 o'clock at night. And it was cold.
Not in a sun hat. What is going on? Sorry, it's a sun hat for me.
So shout out to you, Lupita. And so, I posted that the other day, and I was like, yo, I waited in the cold for several hours with Dominique Fishbeck to get Lupita's autograph. I said, now I'm going to have to wait in the cold for several hours to get damn Dominique's autograph.
Well, I remember when she posted that on, the thing is I remember when she posted that on Facebook that day. And she was like, one day. And the thing about it is I remember Dominique Fishbeck posting on Facebook, and I remember her being like her manifesting in her words. She always manifested. She was like, one day when I'm working with Lupita, or I remember she was going to get a job at Starbucks, and she was like, she always spoke about the vision for her life as if that's my sister, as if it, hey, Nene, as if it already was. And the thing that I do know about Dominique Fishbeck, and this is why I said, you just never know how the thing is going to lead to the thing, because her one woman play, I really feel like it all, and I don't know her background prior to Pace and prior to creating her one woman show. I know that like she's a New York native, Brooklyn native, but I do remember things happening for her after that one woman show. I remember she got a really good agent, and then she got slowly booked on certain things. She did Jay-Z's video, and you never know what is going to be the catalyst.
And that's why, and the thing that I love about Dominique too, right, is that Dominique has such an open heart. And she is always, I think her one woman show is called Subverted. I think it's Subverted. And she has such an open heart, and she's always like humble. She's always so humble in whatever environment she's in. And now I'm sure I don't have the same access to her that I did prior. You know what I mean? But Dominique has come through for me. I've produced multiple things that Dominique has come through and performed in. Like one of the first things when me, Bobby Rodriguez, and Kim Barrios-Lynn, we started this organization called Colors of Community, where we were bridging, using theater to bridge community. And Dominique, and we had Queen Portia, who is another slaying out there. Portia, look her up; she's amazing. She's also an actress, director, but she directed a piece that was written by Dominique Morso. This is just to show you how everybody in this business is connected, right? And you really got to be good to people and continue to keep in touch. Like that's the thing too. Don't just meet people and then but stay on their radar because people get busy. So once a month, send an email or something like that. But Dominique Fishbeck did Dominique Morso's short play called Giselle the Gazelle, and it was directed by Portia. So Portia made that connection of the Dominiques, and after that, Dominique Morso enjoyed her playing this character so much that she invited her to come and do this role when Dominique Morso got awarded at Lincoln Center. And so that was even more of a platform for Dominique Fishbeck to do this work and to show the world what she's working with. And so that's what I'm just saying. Like, you never know, like you said, what connection leads to the next connection, leads to the next thing, you know what I mean? And you always have to be good. And she's always willing. Like, she's always willing to work. She's always just willing to do the work.
I mean, it's really interesting. And it's so interesting that you're saying that, because I say this to people all the time when it comes to like just being creative and then just showing up. Like I tell Darkoya all the time, I was like, it's not about people seeing you for this one audition. If you just show up and they know how wonderful you are, it's just like, they're going to be like, you know what? Not this one. And as a producer, I'm like, gosh, I really want to use this person, but I can't for this one. So I'm going to use them on the next one. And in the back of my mind, when I'm doing the next project, I'm thinking to myself, well, who can I use? It's already there for me to think because I'm already thinking about people that I can use, that I can count on, that'll show up and that'll do the job. And so I just really feel like it's important for our viewers to know out there that just show up and just be the best version of yourself, you know? I know that everybody thinks they have to be this person or that person, but there's only one you. You know, there's only one Kaili. There's only one Quoia.
And know that you are enough. And know that you are enough.
I know that's really very cliche to say, but my gosh, I mean, that's the one thing that I'm seeing that's consistent. It's consistent and it's true. And people have come in and out over the last couple of years. I've seen them come out, come in, come out, but the persistence, the ones who just show up, who ain't even that talented. Can I talk about the people who ain't even that talented, but they just show up? And then you're like, you know what? You showed up 30 times. Dude, I'm just going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you. And they take that one opportunity and they're emailing everybody and their agents saying that they just got booked. And then all of a sudden you see them on everything and you're like, hold up. And even them, they don't even take advantage of that and start getting training or something. Then you be like, dang, they're way better now. Like what just happened? You know?
They have the business side down. That's the thing. As an artist, it's like, yeah, I do think talent is needed. Yes. But talent doesn't always get you the opportunity. Consistency, business savvy, hustle, that will usually get you the opportunity initially, you know? We talked about this before, Tish, and Kaili. I don't know if you feel the same way, but you know, sometimes I think about like and getting an MFA, right? And it's like, do you really need an MFA to be an actress? And I go back and forth with that. And my conclusion with that is no. To be an actress, you don't need an MFA. To make it in this industry, you absolutely don't need an MFA. What I think the MFA does and the training and the toolbox does is when you get into a room with the Viola Davises and the Kerry Washingtons, the MFA sustains you. It allows you to actually be in that room and to be able to collaborate and compete in that space. That's what I think the MFA does. But the MFA isn't gonna put food on the table initially. It's not. It's consistency, business savvy, and hustle, and being intentional. That's gonna get you the initial auditions, network with people, and get your name out there. That's what I think. And I know Tish.
I agree. People. I mean, you know, Hollywood is kind of a machine. So they pick and choose what they want to be the hottest thing, you know, for that year or for that 5 years. They constantly work in that capacity. So it's just one of those things where you want to matter where it matters most. And where it matters most is when you're creative, because you can't take away from something that's well written or well acted or well directed. And there's not only will the people who are around you, who you want to see, will say it, but it will also be, you know, your audience. They'll tell you. So, he is just so
is. Look, he's like, I'm tired. I want my mom back. And we know you have another interview, Kaili. She's dying laughing.
I know.
Kaili, we're going
because it's like my toddler I'm in like an abusive relationship with him. It's like 1 minute he wants my attention. He wants to like hug me and love me, but then he's so like aggressive with how he wants to hug me and love me. And the next minute he's screaming at me and what's up. That's why I'm cracking up, because I'm like, he is trying to love on me.
He loves his mama. Well, we know you have to go, Kaili. So we're gonna ask you one more question. We know we couldn't see Onika the puppet, but we'll have to have her come on and have her own segment.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Yes. So, Kaili, we just want to tell you, first off, thank you so much for coming on our show. We were like, we got to interview Kaili. We know she is about to blow up. Like, we need her on our show. I don't care. Yes, the baby is pulling a Riley Curry. Love it. Yes.
Right? I'm like, he's like, Dad, take my stick here. I'm like, no, you can't have that.
Yes.
No, there's definitely people who will always have access to me no matter what. And y'all are, you know what I'm saying? Y'all are definitely part of that.
Thank you, Kaili.
We gotta stick together.
Yes. And this, thank you so much for coming on. Oh, we have one more question to ask you because we ask everybody this. Let's see. Hold on. Let me say it the way that it's. Let me. So my sister has this coin term. It says like, let me make sure that this question is given what it was supposed to have gave.
Okay. I feel like I'm getting ready for like a James Lipton question. Like when you go,
it is. Oh well, maybe we'll see because I know the baby's tired. So, what ignites your motivation, and how do you stay consistent and persistent to follow your dreams?
Sometimes I'm motivated to make more money to get a nanny. I'm like, people who like have kids but don't really have to deal with them are like, I want to know what that's like. So that's motivation oftentimes. I'm like, I need nanny money. No, it's interesting. Like motivation, it comes at different times, and then you know what I mean. Like it could be something that I see, it could be something that I hear, and then there are definitely times when I'm not motivated to do anything. You know what I mean? Like at the beginning of pandemic, I would say probably until August. Like pandemic in New York started in March, so from March to August, I didn't do really anything creative besides just like have. I did some stuff with Onika, but other than that, I didn't do anything because I was so, pandemic had me so messed up. But now that, things have gotten better and the weather is getting better, I find inspiration in a lot of different things. Like anything that I find funny, I try to think about like, okay, how can I make that a bit, or how could that show up? If someone needs me to do stand up down the line. And then with Onika, with the puppet, she's like my alter ego. She gets to say everything that I might want to say, but I'm not able to say, and do it without consequence, right? Because she's a puppet. You can't be mad at a puppet. I mean, you could be, but it ain't gonna matter because it's a puppet. Right. So that's very motivating and freeing because I can say whatever with her. And then also, like you guys were saying about having community and having tribe, like my community definitely inspires and motivates me. Like this, even, like you guys doing this show, people like whenever my friends are doing something, that also motivates and inspires me. Cause I'm like, yo, look at, I'm like, did you see him over there? Like, I'm like on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm like, pseudo stalking all of my friends and like, like just lavishing in y'all achievements also, you know what I mean? Because I don't got no job, so I just be sitting but I swear, it's a brand new phone. He's dropped it 3 times. But yeah, just I get motivation from a lot of different things, and it just comes whenever it comes. You know what I mean? For me, there's really no like method to my madness. I'm kind of like in a sense, I'm kind of like a mad scientist because I'm always like plotting and thinking of like, okay, what's the next funniest thing? How can I elevate this thing that I already did to make it even funnier? Or can I bring this back and do something? You know what I mean? So I'm always just the wheels are always turning.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kaili. We know you have to go. Thank you for coming on the show. Yes. I already know you have Black Girl Magic, but I'm literally going to be praying for you. I'm just so excited for this SNL opportunity with this professional development for you. I'm so excited because I know that it's just the beginning, and I know that you haven't even touched the cusp of what's about to happen. So I can't wait to see it. I'm beginning here screaming.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't wait either. I'm like, for me, when I'm watching like the opening of SNL, it's like, my picture is about to be up there soon. And I think
you heard it here first.
Right? Like, what's my background gonna be? What am I gonna be doing in my intro for SNL? Like,
yes, and you heard it here first on Too Legit to QT, everybody. So just so you know.
But also, guys, make sure that you follow Kaili at MDame Starlight.
My rap alias.
Follow her on Instagram so you can keep up with everything that she's doing and hire our people out here. I'm just going to put that out there. Just don't be like, oh, I'm watching it, so I'm making myself more diverse. No. Like put some money and economic impact means a lot in our community. So make sure you're out here doing the thing.
Cool.
I'm paying her what she's worth.
Yes. And let's not lowball. Thank you. Let's put that out there. Our Black women.
Seriously.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today, Thursday, 8 p.m. every week until the season is over for season 3. We'll catch you next week for our next guest. And thank you guys. We love you.
Bye.
Thank you. And thanks for putting up with my Tasmanian devil.
We love the kids. Follow Motivation for Kids. That's our sub company.
We'll send you the album for him.
Yeah, we have a kids album. It's all good. We don't play. Bye, boo-boo.
Bye, guys.
Baby shark doo-doo.